Hi, I'm Brittany and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll show you how to paint this loose watercolor floral wreath. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take your paper and cut it to the size 8 inches by 8 inches. I've gone ahead and done that. And now I'm just going to take something round. I usually like to use my artist tape here. And I'm just going to center it on my paper and trace it so that I have a guide of where I want my wreath to go. Okay, now I'm ready to grab my paints. These paints are mostly Winsor Newton professional grade and Daniel Smith, and also a few of these are Holbein. I also have my pot of water right here, and then I have a sponge that I use to dab the excess water off of my brush. The brushes I'm going to use will be my Princeton Heritage round brushes. This is my size 8, and this is my size 6. Okay, I want to show you the color palette that I've chosen to use for this wreath. My flowers are going to be mostly made up of this Jaune Brilliant, really watery mixture, a touch of my Indian Red, it's just a very light, creamy peach color, and I love that. For the middle of the flower, I'll use this Indian Red, and usually I just dab it in to the petals and let it spread around. So this is another color we'll be using. For a bit of an accent color, I like to use this Mineral Violet. For my leaves, I'll be using Sap Green. And this is Perylene Green. And then I like to use a light blue. This is Ultramarine Blue. You can use Cobalt, Ultramarine, or Smalt. Just a beautiful blue. And then Payne's Gray for my darker blue. And to make some dark accents around the painting. I'll have a list of all the colors that I use in the description below the video. All right, I'm ready to get started on my wreath. I'm just mixing this puddle of Jaune Brilliant and Indian Red. I'll start with the flower. Just start it right over here. I'm just going to make these simple teardrop shapes to create the petals of the flower. They're all pointing into the center, and I'm going to leave some white space in the center as well. Just want to quickly get that down. I don't want my petals to look so perfect, so I kind of mess up the edges a little bit. I'm going to rinse off my brush. While that is still wet, I'm picking up a thick mixture of the Indian Red. I'm going to just drop it in the middle here. And it'll just blend into these petals. I'm picking up my Mineral Violet, and I do want a very thick mixture of this, and I will just kind of make these spokes in the middle for the stamen of the flower and just kind of darken up that center. Now I'm going to come in with just water on my brush and blur some of these edges. Just don't want it to be so perfect looking. Also drop in some color while it's still wet. I want to add a leaf while this paint is still wet also. I'm using Sap Green, just a watery mixture of this. And I'm going to touch into a spot that is still wet, so this will bleed and make a cool pattern. That's a little bit boring, so I will drop in some darker green. This is Perylene Green. Just kind of add that to it. Pick up my blue, and let's add blue leaves down here off of a stem. Light one, pick up my Payne's gray and make a dark one. See how this works. This paint is still wet, so it will bleed in over here. Just gonna let that do its thing. I'm picking up Perylene Green, and I'm going to kind of continue this around the wreath over here. I'm not worrying about my leaves touching a stem or really where I'm placing them. Just kind of thinking about the color. And then I'm going to want to add another pink flower right here, or orangish, pinkish flower. Maybe this one will just be kind of a bud looking flower. And while it's wet, grab my Indian red, really thick mixture just on the tip of my paintbrush, and drop that in at the base. Let it bleed around. Let's mess up this leaf a little bit. Maybe drop some blue, darker blue into it. These guys can kind of bleed together. I want to add a darker Payne's gray leaf right here. All of my leaves and flowers are going to be pointing this direction for this wreath. Just kind of messing that up so it will smear around, putting some water down. While it's wet, I can add other colors in there, a little sap green. I do even want to put a little bit of like purple accents around this. Okay, let's keep going. Sap green. I want to see that bled into my flower, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to look cool. Drop in some color, this Perylene Green. Probably into both of these. This is a little bit green. Get that spreading around. Kind of bled a little bit too much over there. So I can just come in with a clean brush, mop it up, make it behave a little bit. Into this guy. I want to do another pink flower. I don't want it to be like directly across from there. I'm going to tuck it in right here. See if I can do that. One petal, two petal, 3, 4, and 5. I like how this is just kind of bleeding off into nothing right there. And I'm going to leave that. Pick up my Indian red, thick mixture on the tip of my brush, drop it in and watch it bleed into this lighter color. I love that. And again, I'll take my mineral violet, just come in the middle here and deepen that up. Like that. Okay, let's just continue the wreath around this way. Pick up Sap Green again. Down here. Pick up a darker. This is Perylene Green. Look at that go. Oh, that's cool. It's gonna go take over that flower, but it looks really cool. So let's just kind of push it back a little bit. Pick up that green with the just water on my brush, basically. And then if I still wet, I can drip that orangey paint back in. Put some light blue leaves in. A little bit too stiff right here. Drop in some Payne's gray. I want my last flower right about here, so I'm gonna put that in. Watery mixture of Jaune Brilliant and Indian Red. And just teardrop shapes pointing to the center. They don't have to be all the same. They can be some shorter on the side, longer on the other side. It really doesn't matter. Got my Indian Red here. Cool. It's blending out with water over here. And now I have my purple mineral violet. Dab that in the center. Okay, now I just need to close this up. Let's do that with, let's pick up some, let's do the Ultramarine Blue. I got a little bit too dark. Come down here. Leaf. Let this leaf touch into the wet part over here. That bleed around. Another leaf over here. Picking up some darker green. Dropping it in. Now I'm going to get Payne's gray. Put in a dark leaf right here. Touch it into this one. Those can bleed together. And then I need to kind of work around here. Drop in some purple. Whatever you feel like. I'll draw a stem over here. Oops. That was still really wet. It's all good. You can just let it do its thing if you want, or try to control that a little bit. Taking the blue, making more leaves, making it's gray, dropping color in. Another leaf over here. Let's do a dark Perylene Green leaf here. And close this gap. And here I'm just going to have water on my brush. Make kind of a leaf shape. Drop in some color. I need to get these guys bleeding a little bit better. Okay, now we'll just go around and see what needs to be filled in. Could have a little bit more up here. Let's see what we can do. Add some more dash marks around here. And kind of touch into this wet paint over here. That looks a little bit better. That's a little bud right there. Add some more buds over here. I feel like I need to do some right here, but just put some paint down and water, fill in that area right there. Oops. Just paint on my brush. I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out, but I want to make it a little bit thicker. So right here I might add some leaves. Over here, maybe just some blurry paint drops right there. And then I think this will be finished. A little more blue, so go right into here and add a blue leaf poking out. Drop some darker color in there. Like a sap green leaf coming out over here. Drop some green in there. Darker Perylene Green. Just touch into those leaves. some, dropping in some water. All right. If you're over here, I need to kind of balance this out. I'm not liking this. Don't like something, you can just wipe it away. A little bit of blue up there. Tucking in some darker leaves around. The light blue one. What else do I want to do? Right here, maybe. Where's this leaf? A little purple over here. I'm going to add some water right here. I feel like I need to kind of fill in that spot. Just with some drops of color. Okay, is everything looking balanced? Thick enough? You kind of come into this guy over here. Munch him around. Okay, I think that's where I'm going to stop. I'm happy with it. It has some pretty bleeds going throughout it. I like the color palette, and that was just a fun little wreath to paint. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful for you. Have any questions? Just leave them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.